Hey everybody, this is Sean. Welcome back. Excuse me. Welcome back to our channel. Forgive me if I cough, sniff, or sneeze. Once again, it's like I'm allergic to doing YouTube videos or something. Sorry. Hey, in today's video, I want to talk about it almost looked like the Sean Hannity endorsement video of the Byrna 12 gauge less lethal munition that is being offered by Byrna. If you're wondering what Byrna is, they are basically a company that designs less lethal products. In particular, basically your pepper ball, so to speak, launchers. It almost looks like a firearm. They have the handgun version, and then they have the rifle version, and then they also produce kinesthetic munitions as well. Law enforcement uses it, security uses the products, and your responsible citizen also uses the products. If you're chiming in from California, wondering if it's legal or not, I'm not an attorney. There's not legal advice, not professional advice. But what I will tell you is, unless there's a city ordinance that dictates otherwise, having a Byrna is legal. Once again, there are some exceptions, but generally having a Byrna less lethal, the the pistol version and the rifle version are perfectly legal, as long as you use the kinesthetic munitions. As for the pepper ball, or the kinesthetic munitions that actually have that pepper powder in it, you can't use that in private security. So I just addressed that right now. There's a lot of debate on that. I did a complete video, and people still have questions. I keep providing the answers. I keep providing the criminal code sections, but people get lazy and then ask me without even looking at the comments. So I just recently saw the video. Make sure that you guys check out the Byrna video where Sean Hannity talks about having the utility of having a Byrna less lethal munition in the shotgun. So when somebody is about to invade your house, or they're invading your house, that's an option that you consider. At least that is the perspective that I get from watching the video. I don't know if Sean Hannity is getting some type of kickback, if he gets advertising credit for that. I don't know if they're paying him. It just seemed very awkward that Sean Hannity, who's a very popular person, all of a sudden informally endorses that product. The main instructor, or our host, is actually a former full-time Las Vegas Police Department SWAT operator. Las Vegas Metro SWAT is an elite SWAT team in the United States. They operate on a full-time basis. That means that they're constantly doing training on their days off, and they are fully operational. They respond 24/7, and they get quite a bit of call-outs. I mean, they get a fair share of call-outs every single week, sometimes multiple times a day. But once again, they're a full-time SWAT team, and I believe that the host is credible. I'm not too sure about using a less lethal Byrna projectile as a home defense option. Maybe an alternative to lethal force, but this is the issue. If somebody breaks into your house and they're hell-bent on hurting you, if you use one of the less lethal projectiles on this person and it's not effective, what are you left with? Could that round, if it had been a live round or real round, would it have been effective? Would it have stopped the threat? That's the question that you have asked. Is that going to actually bring the person down or not? So being the sole source of munition for that household, I'm not necessarily going to buy into that. It's a tough one. Also, we also have to understand that there are a lot of felons that cannot possess a firearm. And some of the felonies are quite dumb. I was reading, excuse me, I was reading in the comment section box of the Byrna video, and this gentleman mentioned that he's 60 years old. He was arrested for a felony for selling marijuana to an undercover officer. It was like 12 ounces of marijuana. Well, a lot of states like California, that's legal now. I don't believe that individual right to bear arms should even be affected. I mean, I honestly don't think that you should be a prohibited person your whole life because you sold 12 ounces of marijuana to an undercover cop. And it's for that reason that you have felons who've done their time. Some of them are community activists, and I say that with positive connotations. They do some good things in the community. I think they deserve to continue to be able to, well, not to continue. I believe that they should be able to have a right to bear arms, especially for something that's silly, that's non-violent for that type of punishment. It just doesn't make any sense. So somebody like that, I could totally see why he would want a Byrna, the 12 gauge less lethal munition. That makes sense. Something that the video didn't mention also is that a less lethal launcher should be used in conjunction with a lethal team. Now, I believe that kinesthetic round is, I think the intended audience is probably general public, but private security, like you guys, law enforcement, we gravitate towards these pieces of innovative technology. And then we start to think, hey, wait a minute, as security, maybe I should get one of those. I could carry the less lethal shotgun in the trunk of my vehicle, maybe in the rack. Now, obviously, guys, if you're in California, we made a complete video on whether or not you can carry a 12 gauge less lethal launcher in your security patrol unit. I'm not going to take more time talking about that because we did a complete video on that. For my video, just type in Byrna, B-Y-R-N-A. Are they legal? I think the title's in California. But I did a complete 15-minute video on that. So to be clear, they need to be used in less lethal teams. If you are a private security officer and somebody is approaching you with a knife, okay, they're about to stab you, you should not use a less lethal device. That includes, don't use taser, don't use pepper spray. That should be firearms if you are armed. Now, times have changed. I think the public expects us to put our life more at risk, which I can't believe I'm saying this. Could you? Yes, you could definitely. If somebody pulls out a knife on you and they're about to stab you, yeah, you can pepper spray them. You can use a less lethal device. But quite honestly, when you do that, you endanger your life. Now, if I'm working private security and I'm in a politically charged climate, I think it's worth it to almost die so that I don't get prosecuted by a jury. By the prosecutors and convicted. I think I'm willing to put myself on the line a little bit. And that's a personal choice. You don't have to make that personal choice. That might seem ludicrous to you, but once again, that is your choice. This is my choice. That's your choice. In law enforcement context, previously in the past, I have given people a lot of warnings before deploying various forms of force. I want to say maybe too many times, because I was taught initially just give them one warning. That's all that they get. But there is times when I give somebody at least 30 warnings, and They failed to listen, and as a result, they were struck with a baton multiple times and injured. If you're in a security team, okay, you're always with a partner. I could see the use of having a less lethal launcher. Somebody goes lethal, and then you go less lethal. I totally see that. But if you're on your own, once again, just keep in mind that you are endangering yourself. Even with a taser, somebody pulls a knife on you. You're doing this. You're deploying a taser. You can do that. It might be effective, maybe 50% of the time, 70% of the time, but you are endangering your life when you do that. You guys ever heard the saying, "Don't take a knife to a gunfight"? Well, the same saying works for don't take a taser to a knife fight. You want to have the higher level of force option than the person presenting to you. For example, if somebody has a sword, they run out of the house with a sword after you, that doesn't mean that you have to grab a sword, and I'm being sarcastic, out of your trunk and have a sword fight. No, you get to use one level of force higher as long as it is reasonable. Okay, it's reasonable, it's necessary, then in most states, most jurisdictions, you can use that level of force. If you're chiming in from the UK, they have very interesting considerations when it comes to using force. Okay, I don't even believe that knives are legal in the UK unless there is some type of purpose. So maybe if you're fishing or something like that, or you're camping, I believe that you can carry a knife. All right, guys. Running out of breath here. We're out of time. Let me go through the comments. Let me see who's here. Mr. Fusion is here. Hi, Mr. Fusion. Mr. Fusion says, you don't mind if I ask a question that's off topic? Sure. If so, when it comes to contact cover, are there any benefits to the cover officer being up close to the subject versus a distance away? Yeah, I think, every circumstance is different, but if you're closer to the person, you're in a better position to go hands-on. So if you're the cover person and that person is fixated on the primary security officer, like maybe they want to attack the primary security officer, if you're the cover, if you're closer to this person, you can easily just blindside them and take them down without them even seeing you coming. So there are benefits. So I think in a arrest situation, when you're about to go hands-on, there is some benefit of being close. But generally speaking, you want to be 1.5 arm's length away from the people that you're contacting. The more aggressive they are, the farther that you want to be. So if they're talking about beating you up, you can be 20 arms length away, 50 arms length away. So distance would be your friend in that case. TB says, I'm not trying less lethal on a home invasion. Yeah, exactly. You're doing a home invasion. Why do I have to put my life on the line to save yours when you're committing a home invasion that could potentially kill me and my family? That doesn't make sense. Professional security journal says, I'm late. I just got out of sit down with my supervisor. Well, being in a sit down could be a good thing or a bad thing. Mr. Fusion says, there's going to be a point where the public expects us to tackle someone with a knife. Absolutely. 21 foot Mike says, anytime anybody presents a blade, I'm drawing, period. Yeah. That's that's a professional choice. That's a preferred choice as well. Obviously, depending on the facts, you have somebody that is, elderly, they're 110 years old and they can't get up, and then they have a little knife out. Just use your best judgment. Westwell says, good topic. Thank you, Westwell, for being a loyal subscriber. The Mr. Fusion says, media always has unrealistic expectations. Absolutely. Westwell says, sharp objects justify a response with lead, even a syringe. That's something you have to consider. That syringe can have hepatitis on it, HIV. I mean, that can be a death sentence to you. You don't know what they have. I'm not saying that they should get lead. I'm just saying, you know, consider some alternatives. Consider the use of lethal force. Just make sure that it's an actual syringe. Okay. Yeah, this is an interesting topic. I mean, Byrna, they're obviously, you know, they need to satisfy the stakeholders, and they get Sean Hannity to vouch for them. The home invasion context, you know, let me use a less lethal launcher. I'm not totally convinced that that's the best option to go. My setup used to be, I had a kinesthetic less lethal. That was the first round, and then the second was, I think it was double odd buck, double odd buck, double odd buck. So they get one chance, but then I took it out thinking, you know what? Why do I give them the benefit of the doubt? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why do I have to risk my family's life to spare yours when you're the one that decided to break into my house? So there's no more kinesthetic round. There's all lethal. Now, on my bandolier that I do have kinesthetic munitions on there. So let's just say I get somebody that's obviously intoxicated. Maybe they didn't know that it wasn't their house. You know, you get these unusual circumstances. Maybe I might just consider combat loading that kinesthetic munition into my shotgun. That's, again, something to consider. All right, guys, so I might end up doing another video on this topic. Let me do a little bit more research, and we'll see. Looking forward to talking to you guys in the comments. Take care.